Good evening to all and welcome back to SU Securities weekly market presentation for this week. And let me begin with the market news, market performance for the week, and then I will continue to look at some highlights from the economic front and some updates from the foreign markets will also be presented. And then the presentation will continue by Harin with his technical analysis. Looking at the market performance for this week, market actually had a bearish start for the week. Started on Tuesday, and during the trading session on Tuesday, market had witnessed decline in terms of both indices. So during the day, SPI declined by 304.91 points to close at 8,744.61, whereas S&P SL 20 index also declined by around 119 points to close at 2,652.99. So this was basically due to the investors' concerns and worries regarding the proposed tax amendments, which will come into effect from the 1st of October that have already been announced last May by the president. So with that negativity, market actually witnessed the said decline. But anyhow, during the Wednesday and Thursday trading session, market turned around and managed to stay at the positive territory. During the Wednesday's trading session, market gained, the SPI gained around 109 points to close at 8,853.27, and S&P SL 20 index also gained 34.82 points to close at 2,687.81, and the same pattern could have been witnessed during Thursday's trading session as well. So after around a couple of months, the SPI resulted the highest daily gain for the on Thursday's trading session, whereas the SPI went up by 295 points to close at 9,148.5, and the S&P SL 20 index also gained 117 points to close at 2,805.00. If we look at the turnover levels for these 3 days, during Tuesday's trading session, the turnover was reported to be a value of around 3 billion. But anyhow, that was declined to 2.3 billion during Wednesday's trading session, and that was again slightly moved up during Thursday's trading session to report a value of around 2.6 billion. The improved and renewed buying interest could have been witnessed in terms of index heavyweights. So that actually contributed to result the said increase or the bounce back in both the indices. And when it comes to Friday's trading session, market actually declined for the day, whereas SPI declined by 55 points to close at 9,093.37, and S&P SL 20 index also declined by 22 points to close at 2,782.73. So during the day, turnover even declined to report a value of around 2.3 billion. But looking at the overall market performance throughout the week, foreign purchases continued to weigh high over foreign sales. So that resulted in net foreign inflow of around 1.2 billion for the week. And the market participants or the investors entered into a wait and see approach ahead of the appropriation bill that is to be presented to the parliament in the coming week, that is regarding the budget that has been proposed for the fiscal year 2023. So with that, the investors wait and they're looking forward to see what will happen in terms of the appropriation bill, what will be the reaction from the parliament. So with that, the market actually witnessed a slight decline. So overall, despite the week's beginning drastic decline, it managed to sustain at a green zone with having 0.48% up in SPI, and S&P SL 20 index also gained up by around 0.39%. So then let me take you through the treasuries for this week. Apart from the 12-month yield, 3-month yield treasuries and the 6-month yield treasuries all went up, both went up. So 3-month yield increased by 71 basis points, and now it represents a value of 33.05%, and 6-month yield is now 32.53%, and 12-month yield, however, declined by 15 basis points from the previous week, and now it's at a value of 29.60%. So looking at the spot rate, LKR has depreciated in terms of USD and GBP, but represented slight appreciation in terms of Euro and Japanese yen. So looking at the economic highlights, so this has become the talk of the town. The amendments to Indian Revenue Act was gazetted early this week, and that has been previously announced by the president in the month of May. So these tax amendments will come into effect from the beginning of this month. That means it will effective from the 1st of October 2022. So the majority of the tax amendments has been done in terms of personal taxes and corporate taxes, whereas the threshold for the personal taxes has been reduced to 1.2 million per annum from its previous 3 million per annum, and the corporate tax rates has been significantly increased from 24% to 30%. And even the concessionary rates that were prevailed on majority of the export-oriented companies at 14% has also increased to 30%, more than doubled. And the capital gain for companies has also decided to tax at a rate of 30%, which was previously prevailed at a rate of 10%. And with that, surprisingly, these concessionary tax has been increased, and some sectors, especially the IT sector, has been exempted from the taxes before, but now the sector is also entitled to pay taxes at a rate of 30% without any exception. The tourism sector and the education sector, agro-farming sector, gem and jewelry, tourism, education, most of the areas, the shipping and logistics companies, they also entitled to pay a tax at 30%. But anyhow, it is also mentioned that the revenues and the gains that are received in terms of foreign currency will not be taxed, but the mandatory conversion is a must. So there are some changes has also been done in terms of the allowable expenses, or rather the deductions, especially there was a amendment to marketing expenses, and so looking at the tax rates that are now prevailing at Sri Lanka, we are at a higher rate, or the Sri Lankans are supposed to pay a higher rate of taxes when compared to majority of the Asian region countries. So these tax reforms are in line with the IMF specification, where Sri Lanka has to broaden the tax base to increase the overall tax revenue or tax income to government. But anyhow, at this point, most of the parties, especially the corporate participants and the professionals themselves, are raising the question, or rather they are concerning the fact that they're getting the actual benefit for the higher amount of taxes they pay. And yeah, this is the basic thing, or the major thing that need to be highlighted from the Sri Lankan economic front. And let me take you through some commodity updates. Majority of the commodity declines, especially the oil prices decline with the recession fears and the weakened demand, which was overweight the support from the large oil cut that was proposed by the OPEC plus. And gold prices also declined with the stronger US dollar and the worries that are persisting over rising interest rates by the Federal Reserve. And aluminium prices also declined despite the United States decision to ban Russian aluminium in response to Ukrainian conflict. And if we have a look at the financial markets also majority of the market ended up with losses for the week. The Wall Street stocks declined after investors' worries concerning the inflation and the rising interest rates, and even the despite the US producer price inflation eases in September, that still is in a value of 8.5%, which is painfully high. So, with this concern, the Wall Street has caused a decline especially during Friday's trading session, heading to a weekly decline. And the dollar, however, rose against the yen and the sterling after British Prime Minister's decision to fire her finance minister, and the Britain has recently announced a controversial tax cut a couple of weeks back, and that resulted disaster to financial markets where the sterling pound has lowered to almost 37-year lowest. So, with that decision, with that scenario, the UK Prime Minister has decided to remain the corporate taxes at the existing levels, giving a slight of a ditch to their controversial tax plan, and she has recently fired her finance minister, who seems to be responsible for the said turmoil. And apart from that, the Asian market also followed the same pattern. Majority of the Asian market also ended up with weekly declines. But however, Chinese stocks witnessed an increase in prices for the week, and that is with some positive expectations regarding the revival in economic in the third quarter, as majority of the investors are anticipating. Yeah, so that's all from my end. Let me hand over the presentation to Harin to continue from here onwards.
Thank you, Sachini. So looking at US oil during this week, we were able to see how it made a high on 10th of October, which is actually 93.62 US dollars per barrel. So after making that high and getting rejected from the daily resistance of 1992, we are able to see that the price is actually trading in between the level of 85 and 90, closer to the period of 90. Price level of 90. So if the price gets rejected from the level of 85, the daily resistance of 1992 could be once again tested. Worst case scenario, if the price starts to decline below the level of 85 and also the 50 and 20 moving averages, then the daily support of 80, 82 could be tested. So bearish momentum could be expected if the price starts to sustain below the level of 50 to 20 moving averages. And with that being said, rejection from this 85 level key area could actually bring back the price towards the level of daily resistance 1992, and further going forward to the next level of daily resistance 100, 102 could be expected. The RSI is in the mid range as the market is still active. It is closer to the level of 50. Bringing our all share index during this week. So during this week, we were able to see clearly that the index got rejected from the daily support level 8,600, 8,700 after making a lower wick over this candle that we can clearly see. And with that being said, the price index is currently actually trading below the level of 50 and 20 moving average, which indicates a bearish momentum. So in order for us to see a bullish momentum, the index needs to trade above the level of daily resistance 9,200, 9,300, and also 20 and 50 EMAs. Then only we'll be able to expect the next key level of daily resistance 9,800 to 9,900 in between, or even the psychological area of 10,000. That could be expected only if the index starts to trade above the level of 9,200, 9,300, and also the moving averages. So failure to trade above this daily resistance and continuous rejection from this daily resistance could bring back the index towards the level of 17th August low, which is 8,854.8. and also towards the daily support level 8,600, 8,700 once again. The RSI closed at the mid range for this week ended 14th October, which is 42.16. And we have the RCL as our um, top pick of the week. So what we can clearly see in the price of RCL is that it made a low of 31 rupees on 12th October. So from that area, we were able to see that price actually started to incline and get a reversal move towards the daily resistance 36 to 37 in range. So if the price starts to trade above 37 and also 2050 EMAs, then the daily resistance of 42, 43 could be reached and could be expected for the as the price could move above the daily resistance. As the price moves above the daily resistance, the next daily resistance 42, 43 could be expected. Worst case scenario, if the price fails to break this daily resistance 36, 37, and also the moving averages of 50, 20, 20, getting multiple rejection from this daily resistance could bring down the price towards the level of 30, 31. Again towards the 30, 31. The RSI also closed at 46.33 for this following week, as this is the daily RSI. So yeah, previously we were able to see how the moving averages, as the price was trading above the moving averages, we had a bullish momentum, and the price tested multiple times the moving averages as well. So now that the price is quite trading below the level of 2050 and also near the level of data resistance, we might have to wait till next week what could happen. Soon as the price starts to trade above daily resistance, we have a good entry towards the next daily resistance 42, 43. Worst case scenario, rejection from this daily resistance 36, 37 could bring back the price towards daily support 30, 31. So these are the key outlooks from the technical analysis from my perspective. So thank you very much for watching this video. Please do like and subscribe and have a wonderful weekend. Thank you so much.